In this lecture, I want to explore the Unity documentation with you. Throughout this section, I've provided links to various areas of the documentation for more info on a class or method. One of the best skills you can pick up is learning to read the documentation. Unity is one of the biggest game engines available. It's not possible to cover every corner from a course. For this reason, you may need to look up information on your own. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to the homepage of the documentation site. Unity's documentation is split into two sections. We can view the manual or scripting API. The manual contains dozens of tutorials for performing basic tasks in the Unity editor. They're really helpful for beginners to explore the various features offered by Unity. As for the scripting API, it contains a complete list of namespaces and classes of Unity. If we navigate to this part of the documentation, we are given a complete list of namespaces. There are 4 namespaces called Unity Engine, Unity Editor, Unity, and Other. The Unity Engine namespace is the most common namespace used by developers. If we look under this namespace, we are given additional namespaces. You may be wondering, how do I know these are namespaces? All namespaces have a section called Classes under them. For example, if we look under the Unity Engine.ai namespace, we'll find a list of classes. These are the classes registered under this namespace. You'll find a similar pattern for the other namespaces. Hopefully, this information helps you find specific information on a class. There's one more thing I want to mention. Some packages have dedicated documentation pages. For example, let's head back to the manual section. There's a section called Packages and Feature Sets. Within this section, there's another section called Released Packages. This page lists an official list of released packages in Unity. The links will take you to a separate documentation page for that specific page. For example, let's open the documentation site for the Input System package. As you can see, the documentation site has a different design than the regular documentation site. However, the documentation pages for packages are structured the same. Once again, we have sections for the manual and scripting API. The manual contains tutorials for a specific package, whereas the scripting API section has information on the namespaces and classes for a given package. With this information, it should be easier to search for information. Let's begin working on creating enemies for our game.